Hello everybody, I'm Spark249. Welcome to the 7th and final episode of the Stanley Parable. Now, if you were sharp, you may have noticed that up in the top left corner there, it had a bit of text telling me that I'd unpause the game. Now that is because I have activated the console for this episode. To do so, for example, if you're using Steam, right-click on the Stanley Parable, Properties, Set Launch Options, -dev space -console. And that means that when you push the button, and I know this changes between keyboards, but the button next to your 1 key, it'll open the console. And here I can type in SV_cheats space 1, which will set the flag to allow server-side cheats on in most games that use the source engine. So let's see what happens. Oh, where am I now?
Stanley, this is me being serious. In fact, this is my serious room. It's where I come to be serious. That table is the most serious table I could find.
It's a very nice table.
Many tables, hundreds of tables. It's possible I looked at over 1,000 tables. I honestly don't know. The specific number isn't as important as the understanding that of all tables I looked at, this one is the most serious. I relate this story to impress upon you the extent to which this is the most serious room I have, which is why I brought you here. You just tried to activate server cheats.
Yes, I did.
Which of course runs the risk of breaking the entire game. You've got no respect for the strict order of scripted narrative events, and I just can't have that. It's time to get serious, Stanley. No jokes, no games. Outside of this room, I might be more tolerant of those things, but now we're in the room. Which is why I'm subjecting you to the most serious punishment I can think of. 100 billion trillion years standing here in the serious room. Perhaps after that, we can talk about the severity of your actions and whether you've learned anything. But until then, serious room, go.
Okay, well, my punishment is apparently to stand here for an inordinate amount of time waiting. I don't think he knows about my lifespan. Oh well. Well, there's not a whole lot to do in here. So why don't I open the console and type in SV_cheats space 1 again. Now where am I?
Whoa, did we not have the talk? Are we not in the serious room this very moment? Did I not tell you how many tables I looked through? I'm going to be conservative and say it was somewhere in the tens of thousands of tables. Any reasonable person would say I spent an absurd amount of time doing nothing but looking at tables, and I genuinely considered each one too. I took a hell of a lot of notes. I kept the notes in a different room. That room is less serious than this one. It's more of a notes room. Again, the point of this story is to convey how serious I feel this cheating issue is. And I'm sure you'll agree with me once you've fulfilled your new punishment. Infinity years in the serious room. I generally have trouble reading human emotions, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you're devastated by this crippling new punishment. As well you should be. It's the most serious I could think of. Can you get more serious than that? No, you can't. Don't try.
Well, okay, then I guess I'm going to begin my eternal torment here in the serious room by staring at the most serious table in the world. Okay, I'm bored of that now. That was the serious ending, it's very obvious. A bit of a pain to access as you need to use the server cheats to do so, but well, let's get out. Actually, no, before I get out of here, I'm going to show you one other thing. This does not require the console. You can do this without the console enabled. Just type in the word face punch. And it changes every texture to the face punch logo. And if you do it again, it disables it. Anyway, begin the game again. Now there's only one more ending left that I'm going to show you. And, well, it's actually going down the correct route until near the very end. The loading times in this game are amazing.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Now, I could have sworn there was a way to open the executive bathroom, but I guess I can't remember what it is. I thought it was actually clicking on it a certain amount of times, but the same with this. This is actually an elevator. I thought they were near enough the same thing to interact with, but they weren't that interesting anyway. So,
stepping into his manager's office,
was
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
What was the code?
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible.
Go through the new age music
have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
I should have just waited. Oh, I can't play the piano. Oh, there's a camera. Just the one.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward, into the opened passageway.
Sorry about that. My frame rate just went ballistically low for some reason. Okay, down into the bowels of the earth. I wonder if it has something to do with the console being open. Oh well.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Okay, let's go to the last major ending of the game.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
No, he didn't. He took a left, heard the red writing that says Escape.
Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Oh, charming.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Oh dear, darkness. Ooh, what is this? Oh, a hole. Into the hole. I can't move.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
So, the narrator has his own narrator. The Stanley Parable.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
This is the museum ending, and this shows quite a few interesting little tidbits about the game, so I might as well go through them all. These are some of the nature paintings that were used on the walls. This is just a model of the computer that's on Stanley's desk. This is the layout of the office from Stanley's... Well, this is like the standard office layout when nothing's being mucked around. So this is Stanley's office, leading through a few offices until eventually leading to a corridor, which has apparently been moved around and altered to ensure that basically the narrator will have finished speaking by the time you get to the two doors room, so that he doesn't get spoken over. Over here is the two doors room, the most important room in the game, the very first concrete piece of the design. And apparently, the rest of the game was an extension of this room. Here's just the models of filing cabinets in various states of being opened. Here's some of the computers in the office. This guy is playing solitaire. This guy is installing something. Oh, an employee database. Here are the credits of the game, with Kevin Brighting as the narrator. Here's some of the buttons, button sounds rather. Interesting. Here's just a few of the styles that are used in the office with carpeting, etc. Here's Stanley's desk. Let's wander around a bit more. Through here we've got different designs for the boss's office. This one obviously being the one used in the final game. A clock. There's quite a lot to have a look at in here. But here's the freedom ending. I've got to go down there. It's got some nice little sofas for the employee lounge. The underground part of the game, so where you go into the bowels from the boss's office.
For the player to do anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you pick up on intuitively if you have even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design.
This room is very creepy, but according to that sign, these are essentially outtakes or unused narration dialogue for the narrator. And according to that, Kevin Brighting basically had to record all the dialogue for the game 3 times over. Ah, the desk from the countdown ending, or an early design of it. So the bomb ending, essentially. Oh! Another image of the freedom ending, as it existed in the beta. The elevator for the monitor's room. The countdown room, so the original bomb ending. Game design mock-up. The level designer and the writer did this as an audition piece, and William was asked to design the full game due to this. And, well, you can definitely see how this is the basic mock-up. It's definitely prevalent in the actual game itself. So, from left to right, Stanley's office basically changed over time. This one was in November 2011, then March 2012, and February 2013. So it basically was... He's got a larger desk, don't see much difference between these ones, except that painting and clutter's been moved around, been added a bit more. So basically, they made the desk larger and cluttered up the office a bit. Oh, a bunch of emails sent to the narrator. This is lagging. Okay, that room is making my computer lag beyond all belief. I'll go that way in a minute. Some random junk from the office. An early version of the employee lounge. The cargo lift looked a lot different. Ah, you can see how it would have been different to get... Well, the place you had to jump to is a nondescript walkway in the final game, but it seems a little bit more obvious in this one. What's clicking? Oh, so you had a timer to get to the... I'm assuming the choice ending, originally. 15 seconds. There's so much stuff to explore. Huh. There was one ending where you apparently had to escape through the pause menu. The Zending. Okay. Levers for the Zending. Narrator apparently would call out which colour you pulled. A model for the Zending. I don't get what the Zending is supposed to be. Okay, we've been in that room, so we're making progress. Okay, I'm not standing there because these sort of rooms lag I'm lagging my computer for some reason. But those are the trailers, and I dare say you can look those up whenever you feel like. It's random stuff for the meeting room. What's this? Okay, so the first choice. Oh. Okay, so these are different layouts of how you would get through the maintenance corridor. And apparently the simplest one is the one that won out. So the one doorway to maintenance... It was just after the lounge, but yes. How much more stuff have we got to have a look at? Down here. The stuff for Steam Greenlight. A Warzone ending where Stanley would end up on a battlefield fighting aliens. The action game would become sentient and would wage war against the narrator. And it's a little bit too jokey for the tone of the game. Yes, this does detract, to me at least, a lot from what the Stanley Parable itself seems to be. Just a random little photocopier. An early version of the maintenance room. More junk to lie around the office. And we're back to the starting room. So yes, all this is a very, very interesting way of showing the beta elements of the game, unused elements of the game, just other cool bits of information about the game. I took a wrong turning. I forget where I'm supposed to be going. I'm looking for that exit sign, and I actually believe it's directly opposite the entryway. Well, pretty much. So let's go through here.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Let's turn off the Stanley Parable.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now. It'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it.
Goodbye,
Don't
Stanley.
let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Oh dear. Well, that's that. Stanley is now living out his new life as a pancake. Has the game crashed, or... Hello? I think it's crashed. Oh no, the game is still running. Hey, this is the game I need to... Well, that's that then. That's the end of all of the endings except the art ending. I hope you enjoyed this series. I'm Spark249. Have fun.